Hey everybody, it's Alex with AMTuned. I'm making a new video just to go a little bit into more detail on installing everything with the new washers we supply. If you install or if you order our ultimate timing chain kits or our remachined mechanical sprockets, you'd be receiving 2 times what you see here on this side. So you'd get 2 mechanical sprockets, remachined, 2 washers, 2 springs, 4 total O-rings. We already have this unit apart to keep this video nice and short and sweet. So we're going to be reassembling this and paying special attention to the new washers that are included. We had an instance where one of these was assembled incorrectly and the washer was actually pinched between the cam and the cover, causing the mechanical adjuster to be unable to be unlocked. So the variable timing would never work. The set points for timing were never reached because this guy would never free up. So I wanted to pay more special attention to this so it doesn't happen to anybody else. So let's assemble this. First thing we want to do is start off with the washer. So we got everything disassembled, fairly clean. We want to make sure that this washer fits into the bore right here. So this is the top side of the pin bore, so the pin actually goes in there, rests nice and easy down there, and then the spring goes on the top side of this and the washer on the top of that. We don't need this in right now, but what we want to do is make sure that this washer actually goes down into the bore on the cam. I had to file this down a little bit, and that may happen. So simple file, just give it a couple files wherever it's needed if it's not perfectly aligned. How we create these are actually 2 separate washers that are glued together. One washer has a larger inner diameter and one has a smaller inner diameter, and we do that so drop the spring here. We do that so the spring can actually rest inside and not become dislodged while you're assembling. So now that we made sure the washer actually fits in this bore so there's no issues on installation, let's install this. We're going to start off with the bottom part, the mechanical adjuster. These new O-rings, give them a tiny little stretch, not much. That way they seat nicely in the groove. I always assemble it with the little set pin away from me. It's just how I do it. I don't know, you can do it however you want. Now we're going to want to lubricate a little bit. I use Lucas Assembly Lube on a lot of stuff. And what you want to do is add some between the screws and just a tiny bit here where the new remachined area is. Now that we got our assembly lube in there, you could also use conventional oil, synthetic oil, a different type of assembly lube. It doesn't have to be specific. We just don't want to install it dry. Now we want to put the outer ring on, and there's a set pin on the outer ring that aligns with this hole here. That stays the same. So we align it just like that. You want to try to get the outside as good as possible. And you can see here the old bore is all the way up here. That's not going to be used. So if this was a brand new sprocket from Audi, this would be assembled this way. But it's not. It's one of our remachined ones. So the new bore is down here. So this is getting rotated down, and we're going to assemble it down here on the bottom. And you do not want to align the hole with the pin just yet. That comes later. Next piece that goes in is the pin. This is the locking pin. It is one-way directional, so make sure the flange side is up. We're going to set that in. We can push it all the way down, so it's all the way down now. We're going to put in our new spring. And now we're going to install the washer. We're going to place it on top of the spring. And again, be sure the washer fits in the pin bore before you get to this process. If it doesn't fit, you can clamp it down and you might get some remnants between the lids, causing this not to be able to move. So we're gonna We're gonna set it just on top so it's resting, and you'll see that the spring, there's a little groove to catch a spring on one side. And now we're gonna put our last O-ring. Again, a little stretch. Okay, sits nice in the groove. And we want to add a little bit of lubricant just at the top of the cams. You can skip this one. Don't need it on that one. Just 4 of them. Now we're gonna put the back lid on. And for this, you can see here on the back lid that this had a failure at one point. So the old washer broke and the spring was just rubbing on the lid back and forth. So we want to avoid this area because we don't want our brand new washer riding on this surface, which is a little bit rougher. So we're going to make sure that this rougher part is up above and not interfering with our new washer. Let me grab the screws here. And for installation, I have a handheld T30, and I also have my small torque wrench, which were set to 12 Newton meters. And I have a glove as well to hold the sprocket, or else you can hurt your hand with the actual teeth on it. So let's put the lid on. Make sure that if you have a bad surface on it, it is away from the washer. You want to kind of align the holes as good as possible when you're placing it down. And now is a little bit of a tricky part. You want to look in the gap from this side to make sure that that washer is going into the bore so you don't clamp it incorrectly. If you clamp that washer between the cam and the lid, it's gonna make that cam unable to be released. So let's put this down nice and easy. And then while we're licking, I gotta adjust a little bit, and then boom. I saw it and I felt the washer go down. Now you gotta keep applying pressure down on the lid. We're gonna put 2 screws in here. While we're applying pressure, you don't wanna release it or else that washer is gonna pop out of the bore. So let's set these screw down. We're gonna tighten them down by hand. Okay, we got 2 down, you gotta release. Let's put the other guys in. Okay, and I'm gonna just snug it up. Nothing crazy, just snugging it up so I know I'm squishing down the O-rings, and I'm also removing the void between the cam and the lid. And now what we're gonna do is we wanna make sure that we can turn this cam and lock it into position. If you don't lock it into position, your timing is gonna be set wrong when you put it back together. So it's pretty simple. I use 2 tools. You could use 2 picks. Put it in 2 holes, and you're gonna wanna rotate clockwise from this side. And then you heard it. You can hear that there's a tiny bit of play, but the cam is locked into position in the middle. So that means the pin dropped down into the new bore, and it's locked, and we can hear the pin slightly with the amount of play that it's supposed to have going back and forth and not unlocking. So this is locked. We know it's ready to roll. Then we get our glove. I just hold it so that way you don't tear up your hands on the sprocket. And you're gonna wanna tighten these down to 12 Newton meters in a star pattern. You could, if you got a little bit of strength, you can hold in your hand. Done. And that's how you reassemble a mechanical adjuster.